years ago. Christmas wasn't a word that anyone had ever heard of before. It didn't exist in the world of dinosaurs where our story takes place. They knew nothing of Santa or Christmas trees or presents, and they'd certainly never heard of reindeer before. Yet, on one particular starlit night, everything changed for our friendly group of dinosaurs. They were gathered in a nearby field to graze as they did every night, when suddenly a thunderous boom sounded in the sky above them. Don't worry, folks. It wasn't a meteor bursting through the clouds. Our story is much less frightening than that. The dinosaurs stopped grazing at once. They lifted their heads to the sky and began pointing and shouting in alarm.
Up in the air, there's something flying. Don't know what it could be. It doesn't have wings, it sure looks funny. Nothing I've ever seen. It's got a lot of legs, it's got a lot of heads. It's brown and red and green. It jiggles when it flies, it's got a lot of eyes. What do you think it means? Why should a dinosaur know anything that a jolly old guy in the sky? Look at him go, say ho, ho, ho. How are we supposed to know? Up in the air, there's something flying. Don't know what it should do. It doesn't look like a pterodactyl. We just don't have a clue. It's circling in the sky. We got to wonder why. It jingles and it glows. And in the front you'll see what looks like it could be a red and shiny nose. Why should a dinosaur know anything that a jolly old guy in the sky? Look at him go, say ho, ho, ho. How are we supposed to know? Why should a dinosaur know anything that a jolly old guy in the sky? Look at him go, say ho, ho, ho. How are we supposed to know? How are we supposed to know? How are we supposed to know? How are we supposed to know?
Sent a great cloud of dust into the air around them, making it impossible to see where they had landed. Where are we, Cupid? I'm not sure, Santa replied. He got out of the sleigh and looked around in confusion. Something must have gone terribly wrong, he thought. Not a single house in sight. No city streets or blinking lights. Santa peered into the darkness and noticed all of a sudden that 100 pairs of eyes were staring back at him in bewilderment. He stepped a little closer and saw that some of the creatures had sharp, pointed teeth. Others long horns sprouting from their heads. Santa's eyes grew round in his face. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Dinosaurs!" he shouted. The reindeer crowded around behind him, looking on in disbelief. "Who are you?" asked the littlest dinosaur of all. "You don't look like any dinosaurs I've seen before," said another. "I am not a dinosaur," said Santa. "I'm Santa Claus." A long, knot-necked Brachiosaurus pointed at Santa's reindeer. "They don't look like dinosaurs either," he grumbled. "Of course not," replied Donner. "We're reindeer." Dinosaurs began to chatter all at once. They'd never heard of reindeer before, and they were very curious to find out more. An elderly-looking dinosaur began to shuffle his way to the front of the pack. He had a low, gravelly voice, but his face was kind and he looked very, very wise. "If you're not dinosaurs, where did you come from?" he asked. Blitzen was the first to reply. "We came from the future." "The future?" asked the elder dinosaur. "How did you do that?" Dasher came bounding to the front. "It was all Santa's doing," he cried. "He kept pushing us to go faster and faster. And the next thing you knew, we were in a time warp," added Comet. The elder looked on in surprise. "What's a time warp?" he asked. Santa's sleigh. "We better go back now," he told him. Rudolph leapt high into the air. He came down with a thud of his hooves and began to paw at the ground with excitement. "Yes," he exclaimed, "it's almost Christmas and we have lots to do." The dinosaurs stared at each other in confusion. "What does Christmas mean?" asked the Stegosaurus. "That's right," Santa cried. "You don't know about Christmas, do you?" The dinosaurs all shook their heads. "Well, you're in luck," said Santa. "Spreading Christmas cheer was Santa's favorite thing to do in the world. It was what he lived for." "Gather round, my friends," he said. "My reindeer and I will tell you all about it." reindeers put their heads together and began to plan a great party. They would have the biggest, most exciting Christmas celebration ever. It would be one for the history books and all for their newfound friends, the dinosaurs. But just as they began to share all of their wonderful ideas, a terrible roar sounded in the distance. It sent the dinosaurs scattering in 1,000 different directions. "Everybody hide!" came the shouts. The reindeer had no idea what was happening. "What's wrong?" asked Comet. "What is it?" A long-legged dinosaur whizzed by. "It's Tyrannosaurus Rex!" Dasher began to shake. "Oh no, he's the meanest dinosaur of all." "Yes!" shrieked an iguanodon. "And he sounds hungry." "He doesn't eat reindeer, does he?" Vixen asked. The dinosaur shouted back, "He eats everything!" Sliced his claws through the air and flashed the sharp points of his teeth at the dinosaurs all around him. "Well, well, well," he growled. "Look at these tasty morsels." "Go away," shouted the biggest and bravest dinosaur. "We didn't do anything to you." Prancer stepped forward and yelled up at the T-Rex. "Why are you bothering us?" The giant T-Rex leaned down to the reindeer. He gave them a wicked smile and bellowed, "Because I'm hungry." Rudolph came bounding to the front and pointed his hoofs at the nearby trees. "Why don't you eat some of those leaves?" he asked. The T-Rex roared with anger, "I hate leaves." "Wait a minute," cried Santa. "I have an idea." Santa hurried over to his sleigh and began to rummage through a large red sack. He pulled an item from the bag and he brought it to T-Rex. "Try some Christmas cookies," Santa happily suggested. "Mrs. Claus makes them for me every year. They're quite delicious." The T-Rex snatched the cookie from Santa's hands. He brought one to his nose and began to sniff at it rather curiously. After a moment, he gave cookie a tiny little lick, and his face lit up. In the next instant, he shoved the cookies into his mouth and gobbled them in a single bite. "Yum," he said, licking his chops. "These are even better than Brachiosaurus burgers." The whole crowd erupted with cheer. Dasher sprinted over to the giant red bag at the back of Santa's sleigh. "We have lots more in here," he shouted. "Enough for everyone," laughed Santa. Santa and the reindeer began to hand out Christmas cookies to all the dinosaurs. Soon, everyone was happily munching and talking together, including the T-Rex who stood in the very middle of them all. "Would you like to join our Christmas celebration?" Santa asked. The T-Rex looked stunned for a moment. "Me?" he asked. "You want me to join your celebration?" "Of course," replied Santa. "After all, Christmas is for sharing." The T-Rex was so overcome with glee, he began to cry tears of joy. I'd be honored," he blubbered. The dinosaurs crowded around the giant T-Rex. Everyone was smiling, their hearts filled with Christmas cheer. They weren't afraid anymore, and they owed it all to Santa and his reindeer. The elder dinosaur stepped forward. "Thank you, Santa, for bringing Christmas to us," he said. Santa's belly shook with laughter as he shouted, "Merry Christmas to you, my friends. Now let's the party begin."
Ha ha ha!